Thank you for joining us for The Drive Back, the movie podcast where we imitate our favorite thing to do after a movie, which of course is to talk about it on the ride home. I'm Garrett, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend and co host, Adrian.
Hey, how's it going?
We're doing good, and today we got a first timers. What is a first timers, Adrian?
First timers is where neither Garrett nor myself have seen this movie before, so we go out of our way to watch it and let you know what we think.
That's right, and today we have one that's fit for the time of year. We're taking a look at New Year's Eve. So, all this and more coming up on The Drive Back. Alrighty, so back at it here with New Year's Eve, a movie that I haven't thought about since 2011, probably.
Yeah.
But Adrian, you were the one that kind of brought this idea forward to do this movie. What made you pick it?
I just thought it was a fun one. It's the time of year. We kind of planned this, I think, right on New Year's. We planned this episode. So I just feel like it was fitting. And I had seen Valentine's Day in theaters, and I knew this one existed, but I had never seen it. So I just wanted to give it a watch because I just wanted to.
Alrighty, well, before we jump in, let's go ahead and talk about the movie. Released in 2011, New Year's Eve is directed by Gary Marshall and stars Sarah Jessica Parker, Jessica Biel, and Ashton Kutcher, among a huge cast of people.
Yeah.
The lives of several couples and singles in New York City intertwine over the course of New Year's Eve. And now for its award nominations. New Year's Eve was nominated for 5 Razzie Awards, including Worst Ensemble, Worst Screenplay, Worst Actress for Sarah Jessica Parker, Worst Director, and Worst Picture. So
Nice.
now that that is out of the way, I have no idea what you think about this movie. Let's go ahead, because you're the one that put the idea forward. What did you think of New Year's Eve?
Yeah, I thought this movie was super fun. By no means is it a good movie, but I had probably more fun watching this than I have a lot of movies in a long time. I thought this movie had Cassidy and I cheering, laughing at the acting, rooting for characters, just enjoying the whole time. So really, really fun.
Gotcha. I think maybe I would have enjoyed this movie a little bit better if I had someone to watch it with. But
Okay.
this was a lot of me just sitting alone, looking at the screen in pain because this movie is so bad. It's just like it's one of those things like if this is how Hollywood and celebrities think real people act, and that really like bugged me. Like these situations are too perfect, they're too set up, and then they act completely superficially. Like no one I know acts like any of the people in this movie. To be fair, none of them
Sure.
are record label people or anything like that, but it is what it is. So let's go ahead. Let's talk cast first. This is a giant cast. Obviously, with every cast member, you're going to have hits and misses. Who were the hits? Who were the misses for you?
I Michelle Pfeiffer and Zac Efron, I thought did great. I loved their subplot. I think it was the best in the movie. And then I also thought Ashton Kutcher did a good job. Not very much, but I thought he did a good job with what he was doing. And what is his name? Kowinski, the mechanic. I liked his
Okay.
character a lot.
That character was actually pretty nice to have around. I agree. I think that Michelle Pfeiffer and Zac Efron's storyline was probably the best of the three.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I would like to have seen a movie just about that, but of course, we just had to throw in a bunch of other crappy.
The plot of
Plots.
that subplot is that a girl she has a New Year's resolution list of things she wanted to do before the year's over. So she enlists the help of courier Zac Efron to complete her bucket list in one night. And it is actually the most fun part of the movie. Like for example, like one of the like it's just there's things that are impossible to do in one night, but Zac Efron has to find a way to make it possible.
And
And it's really entertaining.
some of them are smart too.
Yeah.
Like trip around
No,
the world.
it was
Okay,
great.
this
Yeah.
counts. Like
Yeah.
stuff like that is really smart. But I agree that I think their side story was the best. Pretty much everyone else's was just like Josh Duhamel in the RV traveling from Connecticut with the
Learning about family,
with the
which
whole.
the voice of Lisa Simpson is
Oh,
in
is that
this
Nancy
movie.
Cartwright?
Yeah,
Oh wow, I totally didn't
yeah.
recognize it.
I thought she was the mom from that '70s show with a ton of plastic surgery done.
Oh wow, nice. Like that storyline was weird. Like the Julia Roberts thing was like, there's no
Way too
like
high stakes. Like it's not like
he's
you're responsible for everything.
yeah, and Matthew Broderick's just sitting there like, if you mess this up, you're not gonna get to do it next year. Well, of course. Like, like who wrote this movie?
And also
It's
like
so bad.
the fact that I guess we're kind of in spoiler, but this movie came out 10 years ago. So if you haven't seen it, just go see it. But spoiler warning, starting now, because we're going to talk about some of the details.
Okay.
But like when the ball gets stuck going halfway up, and they have to do a press briefing with the chief of police
Yeah.
to be like, the ball stopping halfway is about the struggles we've been through this year. Like, dude, if that ball really stopped, people would be like, oh, crazy. Guess I'll just look at my phone for the countdown this year.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
And
cool.
also, not her fault. Literally, Philips sponsored the LEDs,
Yeah.
and one broke. It would not be on her.
Yeah. I guess we're not gonna be buying some Philips products for a while. But like, I was surprised with how bad the writing is in this movie that no one was like, oh
Oh,
no, there's someone on the line that wants you to run for president after that speech. It's
yeah.
like that would have been so just on the nose. Like, it's ridiculous.
The other thing that really caught me off guard is the Jansen plot line with Katherine Heigl and
Oh my
Sofia
gosh.
Vergara.
And John Bon Jovi?
Yeah, but so what was so funny is I was like, oh, what is this, a knockoff Bon Jovi? And then Cassidy didn't say anything, and then she went Bon Jovi Jansen. And then I still was like, huh, like, that's funny. And then, like, 3/4 of the way through, she's like, crazy, they got Bon Jovi. And I went, wait, that's actually Bon Jovi? I was like, I was just joking. That's actually the singer? And yeah, so that was super weird and convoluted for no reason. That, as well as Leah Michelle's role of like the background singer, but clearly the part was written so that she could sing on screen. Like, that was super dumb. And then also, Bon Jovi can't just not go on stage and have his backup singer sing the new song.
Yeah, right?
Like, there's contracts in place. You can't
Yeah, that would have been
just
shut
not-
down real quick. Like,
And everyone is like, oh, who's like, people would be so mad if there was just like a YouTube artist that just decided to perform
Yeah.
the new song of the year.
like, and performing next is this TikTok sensation. It's like, no, I didn't pay to be out here to fly to New York to see someone who I could have on my
I'm
phone.
here for Bon Jovi.
Not even Jensen. I'm here for Bon Jovi. It was
So that was super lame. And then I also thought that Ludacris just had zero purpose to be in this film.
yeah.
Like that, at least a lot of the characters had these tie-ins, like, oh, you're brothers and sisters, or oh, you know this person this way. But there were like so many characters also that just like the record label guy that Ingrid quit in front of, the guy that used to
Yeah.
play in Third Rock from the Sun. But like he didn't come back in at all.
Yeah.
Like there was.
Let's grab these big names for like 2 seconds. Okay.
Oh, yeah, and then Holly Berry, like her resolution of that her husband is in the military, came totally out of nowhere with like no preface to that at all. It was just like, oh, that's your story, got it.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, but there was some good stuff. I thought I love movies that tie everything together. I think those are super fun. Like when the reveal at the end, with everybody being in the same place at the same time, I thought was cool. But I think they could have done it better. I think if you've seen the movie Crazy Stupid Love, with Steve Carell and Jake Gyllenhaal and just a ton of famous people, but that ending is what I wanted for this movie, where like everybody is in the same place and you realize all of it at the same time, that everybody's related in some way, and they didn't really do that. So
Yeah.
eh.
It just kind of fell apart. Like, I don't know. Like, it's the kind of genre of film that, like, I would say is probably my least watched of any of them, which is romantic comedy, romantic drama, romance in general. And I'm like, we try to be very open on this show with genres and kind of experimenting with new genre and things like that. and this isn't quite selling it. I think I gotta watch.
Well, I've heard Valentine's Day is like 5 times better, so I definitely need to give that one a shot. Maybe
We'll have
we'll
to
do that
watch
for
it in
Valentine's
February.
Day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for a special Valentine's Day episode.
I will say though, I had so much fun watching this. Though again, it's not good. There's a lot of poking fun at it, but I had so much fun that I want another holiday movie. Like I want to see one with current actors. I want to see another ensemble movie. I thought it was super fun.
There is an element of fun to it, but I think they'd have to get better actors, like people who are more relevant, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. People that are more current nowadays, like we'd probably have Jennifer Lawrence, probably like Selena Gomez, just like people. It'll probably have that kind of level.
Some of the
of
Marvel
fame.
people, like maybe
Some of the Marvel
Simu
people.
Liu and people like that. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, honestly, it also made me miss a time in film when people could make movies like this. Nowadays, we've talked about it before on the podcast, but films are all AAA, go for maximum money. There aren't any like new branching off films that come around very often. A24 is probably the only studio still pushing things like that.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because this is a fun movie. I'm glad it exists. I don't think it's like scum of the earth film, but it's a movie that somebody had an idea for and they were able to make it without this pressure of is it going to earn $7 billion in its opening weekend.
No, but there was definitely the notion that like, oh, Valentine's Day did well, so let's do another movie.
Well, but that's fine. But I feel like this movie, I could not imagine it existing now. It's just not big enough. Like it doesn't have the audience. People would not go see it, so it'll never be made. And I just find that unfortunate. I miss kind of that era of films where you got independent films a lot more than big budget like series films.
Well, you still get plenty of indie films. It's just how they're released is really what affects it, right? Like,
I guess they don't hit the big screen, is what I'm saying. Like
yeah,
they don't
find a niche streaming platform, or they're released in like San Francisco, LA, and New York, or whatever it may be, right?
This feels, I got it. This feels like a souped up Hallmark film.
Oh, 100%.
Like, this is a Hallmark film on Dwayne The Rock Johnson steroids. This is...
Hallmark saved their budget for all their crappy films for 10 years. Yeah. And they were like, here we go, we're making the big one, and it was still garbage.
Yeah, it's literally because in Hallmark, like, if Sarah Jessica Parker was in a Hallmark film, you'd be like, whoa, big actress. Like, Hallmark spent some money on this one.
Yeah.
And this, you could tell they just put all their chips in there. I'm surprised it didn't end with the Hallmark signature, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Like, it felt like a New Year's card. It felt like that.
That's ridiculous.
But that's how it feels. That's what this movie is a souped up Hallmark. If you like Hallmark movies, you're probably going to find this is like the end game of Hallmark. Man. We got to put together all my quotes of relating films to other...
to Endgame or anything and just like make an edit.
The end game of Hallmark.
Like the portals just open up and like Sarah Jessica Parker steps out with Abigail Breslin. Like...
Zac Efron slides through on his scooter.
That's ridiculous. And that is interspliced with robots. Because that was the other big one you said was Endgame. Man, is there anything else you want to talk about with this movie? Because there's really nothing for me to say except for it's just bad.
I mean, I liked the concept. I'll stick to that. I think, the acting isn't the best. You could tell, like, everyone was kind of just paid to be there. You could kind of just feel that. It was like, oh, here's your role. Nothing really felt flushed out. But I also think it probably... Yeah, but it probably kind of came down to the point, too, where I don't think movies were acceptable to be long enough to flush out this many storylines at the time.
I agree. Yeah.
Like, I think if this movie were longer, not that I want it to be, but if it were, we might be more attached to characters. Like, we might have gotten to see Ludacris, like, build up how he hasn't been around his family every year on New Year's. Like, that's a thing. But they don't even talk about it. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to assume that he's, like, a distant father.
Yeah.
But he seems like a great dad. Like, the movie does not convey that at all.
Justify anything. It just sets up people in these situations and with these plots and backstories and just expects you to accept them.
Here's the better one. This is the Justice League of Hallmark movies. No character setup. Throwing them all on the screen. Big team up movie. No payoff.
Sure. Yeah. I can see that.
We need the Zack Snyder cut of New Year's Eve.
The Marshall cut.
And it better be in 4:3. That's all I'll
Sepia
say.
tone 4:3. Increased visual effects. John Bon Jovi doesn't look like 70 years old with dye in his hair. But
And every time Sarah Jessica Parker walks on screen, you hear, "Oh, that's the
no
Wonder
audio
Woman
came
song."
through on that because the game. Yeah,
Man, when I sing, I'm too good for the audio.
Discord's
What I did
muted.
is I sang Wonder Woman's theme song whenever Sarah Jessica Parker walks on screen.
I envy our audio listeners because they're just gonna hear it's just gonna sound like this, and then it's just silence for like 10 seconds.
Well, that's how you think. Like, I bet that's how the theater was every time Sarah Jessica Parker walked
Oh yeah,
on screen.
yeah, or like as in like Family Guy or whatever else would joke around about it. It's like Sarah Jessica Parker walks on the screen and just someone comes out with like the hay bale for a horse.
That's what I said when I saw her. I went, "Hey, horse." But okay, last thing is I think Sarah Jessica Parker is so bad in this movie that she's definitely the worst, I would say, out of everybody.
She got the Razzie nom, yeah.
Yeah, which even worse than Bon Jovi, which doesn't make any sense to me. But so like in when there's really long movies, people release like a bathroom go at this time. Those should line up with whenever Sarah Jessica Parker is on screen. You can just leave the room and then come back and you won't miss anything.
What happened? Nothing. Literally nothing.
Yeah, the movie seemed to black out for a second, and now we're back.
I forgot what happened. It was like a void of time. It's like in X-Files when someone gets abducted and they lose like an hour. It's like, I lost 10 minutes. What happened?
Yeah, the car like somehow drove itself like 30 feet and then parked, and it's like, where are we?
Oh, man. Anyhow, Adrian, any final thoughts before we kind of run this over?
No, to me, this is a good, bad movie. And I've talked about films like that before. Like, I think this is a fun one. I think this is you watch it every 10 years and be like, hey, remember that movie New Year's Eve? And then you put it on and you're like, that's what I thought it was. and that's what it is. So, yeah, I think it's fine. I gave this movie my score, let me see. I gave it a 62.
Wow. All right.
I just had a lot of fun watching it. Bad movies can get high scores for me. I think it's totally a niche genre, but this one hit it.
Fair enough. As far as a final thought, I said that New Year's Eve is so superficial, dumb, and childish that it eliminates any possibility of having fun, as A-list stars make their way through F-list storylines. And
Nice.
Because of that, I gave it a 15. This movie was just painful to watch. I'm sorry.
We should have watched it as a group. We should watch.
So, I mean, for me, like, I guess this is kind of insight into my scoring system. Like, I can watching a movie in its circumstances doesn't really affect the score I give a movie. Like, like we could be watching a really bad horror movie and having fun and roasting it, but that doesn't make the movie itself better. The movie itself is still bad. Do you know what I mean?
And I guess that's where our scoring system differs, because I base off of like the viewing fun that I had while doing it as well. That affects it. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Different scoring systems.
we should all get together and watch Valentine's Day on a group call, though.
That would be really fun. It'd also be really fun to do at some point, kind of a Mystery Science Theater type thing where we watch really bad like public domain movies.
Yeah,
And just make fun of them the entire time.
yeah, absolutely.
We'll have to look into that. But anyhow, Adrian, it's a new year. Some people are looking for some new, fresh social media accounts to follow. Where can they follow us online?
Well, if you are looking for a new place to go ahead and land your subscribe and follow buttons, go ahead and follow us on the Drive Back Podcast on every platform. We're there on Instagram. If you want to see us and talk to us, we're there. If you want to listen to us, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you may be listening, Stitcher, all that good stuff at the Drive Back Podcast. And here on YouTube, if you see us and we can see you, then you're here on YouTube. So go ahead and make sure to subscribe, hit the little bell button, and hit the like button. Every single review helps with the channel, helps with the view count. So we really appreciate every single thumbs up and 5-star review that we get. So thank you very much for those. And go ahead and talk to us. Yeah, we're pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, leave us some recommendations. Let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what you don't like so much. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you guys next time on the drive back for the next episode. I forgot we should probably do our little heads up. Next week we'll be watching the film Poseidon, the remake of the original 1972 Poseidon Adventure, which is...
I'm so excited for that.
It is available on Netflix. So if you have Netflix... there you go, which most people do. So,
yeah.
But that's going to be for next week. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you guys next time on The Drive Back. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Drive Back. Make sure to be on the lookout for new episodes every Monday, and make sure to follow us on social media.